What is going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and I hope all of you guys are enjoying your Saturday. Full slate of college football, and then we got the Sunday Week 2 slate for the NFL where the Vikings get the nightcap taking on the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a ton of fun. Cannot wait for the game. We will be going live for the game here on the channel, so if you guys have not tuned in for a watch party, please do so. It's going to be a blast. But what are we talking about today? We're going to be talking about two guys. And I'm kind of fired up to do this video because it was just a take I had watching the Packers-Commanders game. And the two guys we're going to be talking about, J.J. McCarthy, Kevin O'Connell, and why their fit together is a perfect marriage for this Minnesota Vikings football team, and why I'm just so excited to watch them grow not only year to year, but honestly from a quarter-to-quarter basis. Like we saw that week 1 against the Bears. We saw JJ grow up right before our own very eyes, and I just can't wait to see that relationship between JJ and KOC just continue to build. And, I think after watching, that Commanders-Packers game, the quarterback and the play caller, they are connected at the hip. Now, I am going to exclude the big four in the NFL. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. I think those guys, no matter who their play callers are, they could get the most out of that offense. But even like with Patrick Mahomes, like a great relationship with Andy Reid. And I think almost as fans, we undervalue the relationship between a quarterback and the play caller. Because we take Thursday, for example. Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. Hate giving love to the Green Bay Packers, but those guys are connected at the hip. They know exactly what they want to get done every single drive, every single quarter, every single game. And then we saw on the other side of the football field, Jaden Daniels, Cliff Kingsbury, they weren't really on the same page Thursday night. They didn't know how to manage the Packers pass rush. They couldn't really push the ball downfield. They just weren't as connected as you would like. So when we're going into these games and when we're talking about it's not just like quarterback versus quarterback. Like if the Vikings are playing the San Francisco 49ers, it's not Brock Purdy versus J.J. McCarthy. No, it's J.J. McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell versus Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. Or even like defensively. Like it is probably your best player defensively, your green dot guy or that star edge rusher, and your defensive coordinator. I just think almost too much now, where obviously it's a quarterback league and, the quarterback gets all the praise. They get all the slight if they lose, but it's the play caller and the quarterback, and you got to have that relationship. And that's why with the Minnesota Vikings, with JJ and KOC, it's a perfect marriage. Like JJ is a perfect quarterback for Kevin O'Connell because at JJ's core, he wants to sit in the pocket. He wants to run the offense. All he cares about is winning football games. But then JJ has that extra gear. And I think that's why KOC chose JJ over Sam Darnold or a guy like Aaron Rodgers or a guy like Kirk Cousins, is because that extra kind of gear JJ can go to. Because the offensive coordinator and the offensive play caller can get you to that spot, but can you elevate where they got you to? And JJ has that elevation ability. And that extra gear is that extra fiery, competitive nature that's just in his blood. Like the dude's a stone cold killer. He is a sicko. And my favorite part after that after JJ's touchdown run late in the fourth quarter against the Bears Monday night, Brian O'Neill's running around saying, "You're a effing sicko. You're a sicko." And it's like, yeah, these guys know how much of a sicko he is. We've been telling you about this on the channel for the last couple of months, that this dude, whatever his ceiling is, JJ will meet his ceiling because he loves this game and he loves getting better. But kind of connecting it back to, JJ and KOC here is like, KOC can get JJ in all the right spots. Like, we know this. I think KOC is the best play caller in the National Football League right now. But it's like late in those fourth quarters, those big-time situations where you just need a dude to rise to the moment. That's what JJ does. Like, yeah, is it always going to look clean throughout the first 3 quarters? Sometimes it will. Like, I think there's a chance the Vikings go out all 4 quarters this weekend, and it's an offensive masterclass. I don't care with no Christian Darrisaw. I don't care no Jordan Addison. I could see the Vikings absolutely lighting up this Falcons defense and building off what they had during week 1 of this season. But sometimes in that fourth quarter, you need a guy to elevate. You need a guy to rise to the moment. And you didn't get that with Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins. JJ's just built of the right stuff. And I think nowadays when we're evaluating quarterbacks, that extra stuff matters. like the intangibles matter. Like who you are as a person matters, because there are hundreds of guys out there. They got a cannon arm. They can move a little bit. They can play backyard football, and you could watch them on, wearing shirts and a T-shirt, and you're like, that dude's a hell of a football player. But it's the little things. Can you spark a locker room? Can you be a leader? Can you rise to the moment when your best football is needed to be played? Can you play that best football? And that's what JJ showed during week 1. And, honestly, I think everybody, listen, I've been watching JJ McCarthy since he was a freshman in high school. So I've kind of known what he's been about. I've known, when the moments are the biggest, he'll rise to that. He's just a gamer. He's a sicko. Teammates love him, all this. But the thing I love so much about that Monday Night Football performance is you got the whole JJ McCarthy experience. Yes, he was struggling. Yeah, he couldn't get his feet settled. It was 600-plus days since his last game of competitive football. But then we saw the mental toughness. We saw how much that locker room and how much those guys care about him and how they rallied around him. And then when you got a perfect head coach for him, like a Kevin O'Connell, these two are only going to get better. And that's what they're both wired the same way, where it's both I'm addicted to the process. I'm addicted to getting better each and every day. So I just can't wait to watch them, build off that. And, that's why I think they're going to eventually shock the NFL. And, I think they already did shock the NFL, but I think they're eventually going to, hoist that Lombardi trophy. Maybe it's not this year. Maybe it's not next year. But at some point, these two will break through. I am very confident in that. They're just built to the right stuff. And guys like that, they win Super Bowls. JJ's been winning games his whole life. KOC's been winning his whole life. These two are only going to win together. Can't wait to see him improve. And, I thought what was also so promising, one little thought here on the Bears game. The offense looked unstoppable when it was clicking. And, back in the first half, it was a sloppy first half for the Minnesota Vikings. It wasn't only on JJ. Jefferson was slipping. Justin School was getting his ass kicked. Guys weren't in the right spots. It was just kind of a disaster, and obviously all that kind of falls on the quarterback. But then once we saw that fourth quarter roll around, you started to see Jordan Mason get going. You started to see Hawk a little bit here and there. You started to see Jefferson more involved. And the offense almost had an unstoppable feeling where it was it doesn't matter what you do defensively. I understand the Bears had injuries, but also that crowd was fully in it. It was a road divisional game, week 1, where every team in the NFL has belief, and that's what you did. 3 straight touchdown drives, 21 points. Think about this. The Vikings offense was horrible for 75% of that game, and they dropped 27 points. What happens if they play a good half? What happens if they play a good 3 quarters? What happens if they play a good full 4 quarters? What is this offense going to do? And that's why there's a feeling around this football team right now. And they got some special dudes in that locker room. They got some special talent. And I think we saw them hit that next gear in that fourth quarter. And that's such a just motivating feeling for those guys, because I'm sure they were thinking, man, we were playing some bad football, and then once we turned it on, we looked like the best team in the league. So I can't wait to see that. And also, no Christian Darrisaw, no Jordan Addison, no problem. You just got to manage these first, first 5 games of the season before the bye. Then, hopefully post-bye, it will be Cashman back, Darrisaw, Addison, Van Ginkel will be back. And hopefully this team's fully healthy. That's that week I'm looking at, week 7 after the bye against the Eagles, where it's Darrisaw, Addison, the whole crew out there. Hopefully Darrisaw is back in week 3. Obviously Addison will be back in week 4. And, same with Van Ginkel. But you just got to manage this game against the Falcons. I think they will. And I do want to quickly close out just final thoughts on the Falcons game and talk about one specific guy, Dallas Turner. Stepping in for Andrew Van Ginkel this weekend. Can't wait, man. I mean, this is, again, a perfect storm for Dallas Turner. Sunday Night Football, a team who you thought was going to draft you in the Atlanta Falcons, but they took Michael Penix. You get to go against them. They don't have their starting right tackle. You finally have a moment where he's going to be playing majority of this game. I think he's got a chance to make a name for himself. And for all the people that were out on the Dallas Turner draft pick, they were out on him as a player, out on him as a person, you're going to be proven wrong this weekend. This guy's a tremendous talent. You go throw on, man, even just throw on some of his clips from last season. This dude's got unreal ability. And I think everybody thinks, it's easy to say, oh, Dallas Turner's barely played. He's probably not that good. He's playing behind Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Gennard. Those are 2 of the best in the game at their spots. Dallas Turner's still a 22-year-old kid. He's working on it, but I can't wait to see him out there. I think he's going to have a sack at least in this game. He's going to be impactful, causing havoc, and, man, I'll tell you what, I think Turner's more of a pure pass or a better pure pass rusher than Van Ginkel. With that crowd noise, with Hargrave and Allen on the interior, Michael Penix, good freaking luck this weekend, man. That's going to be a tough spot for you, especially with those two meeting at the quarterback. But the one concern, all right, enough drinking purple Kool-Aid. It's been too much on this show. But one concern I do have, coverage over the middle of the field in this game. Obviously, no Blake Cashman, no Andrew Van Ginkel. They're probably going to be able to set up the screen games a lot better because, again, people don't value this. When Van Ginkel's lined up on that side, you can't throw a screen over there. Like, you literally cannot. It's too risky. It's not worth it. And I just think the Vikings in coverage may lack a little bit. So watch out for maybe Drake London or Kyle Pitts dominating over the middle of the field. But all in all, I'm really not too concerned about this game. I understand this line is only 3.5, and people are taking the Falcons in this spot. I think the Vikings might blow them out. I just think this is going to be a game where we look back in 3 weeks from now and we're like, how were the Vikings only 3.5-point favorites at home against the Atlanta Falcons? We're the better football team, got the way better coaching staff, we got the better quarterback, got the better football players. Keep it simple. Home crowd's going to be jumping. That defense is going to be flying around. Offense should be in more of a rhythm with no crowd noise, on your home turf. Hopefully no freaking slipping. Justin Jefferson, fix your cleats, my guy. Cannot have that happen again, but I'm very confident in this football team getting a win this weekend. We appreciate everybody for watching today's show. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes.